today I'm going to go through my color grading process in DaVinci Resolve, because if you've never used DaVinci before, it can be quite overwhelming. There's a lot to look at, there's a lot of different tools, but hopefully going through my process will help make it clearer for you if you're new to color grading or DaVinci Resolve. And this is obviously by no means the only way to color grade in DaVinci Resolve. There's quite a few different ways and methods that different people have. This is the way I do it. So let's just jump onto my Mac and get straight into it. Alright, so here we are inside DaVinci Resolve. So let's start off with this A-roll clip. Now the way I do it is first I'll open my nodes tab, obviously, and then I'll create a new node. The shortcut key for this is Option S, or you can just right click and then go add node and then corrector. And then all you have to do is drag the attaching line, I'm not quite sure what it's called, to this attachment, the green attachment here, and then the green attachment, drag that out to the ending point. Now I normally create 4 nodes to start off with, and I'll label them transform, creative, levels, and then balance. And basically the way I'm going to work is I'll start off with the color correction, then go to the brightness and contrast. Then we'll have a color space transform, and then we'll get creative with what we've created. So the first thing I always do is I've shot this in S-Log2. So I'm going to add a transform here. So it transforms from S-Log into Rec 709 footage. So in order to do that, I just go over to the effects tab in DaVinci Resolve and then grab the color space transform tool. Drag that onto the transform node. And then here in settings, what we have to do is select our input color space. We're inputting Sony S gamut, and then the input gamma is S-Log2. So you're just selecting, this will be available in your camera settings. You'll be able to find out what you're shooting in, but I shoot in S gamma and then S-Log2. This applies obviously in here. It doesn't matter what type of footage you're shooting, whether it's S-Log3, red footage, DJI footage, Canon log, all sorts of different types of input gamma or input footage, raw footage that you're shooting in can all be transformed within DaVinci Resolve natively using this effect. Output color space, we'll just go down to Rec 709 because we're wanting to output a Rec 709 piece of footage. So, and then we'll make the output gamma also Rec 709. And then you can see it's transformed. If we just hit Command D to hide the effects of this node, you can see the before and the after. So it's transforming from that flat log profile to a proper color image. But obviously we've got a long way to go in terms of color correction. So from here, the next thing I usually do is move over to the level. So I'm sort of working backwards, starting from transform and working backwards towards color. So we'll go to levels next, and then I'll pop out my scopes just so I've got a good view of all the different scopes available to me. So I've got a Luma waveform here. So this gives me the brightness of my overall image. I've got a RGB overlay waveform so I can see the color balance within my image. I've got a vector scope. I've got this currently set to 2x zoom, just so I can see it a bit more clearly what the colors are doing in my image. And then lastly, I've just got a histogram. So for levels, we want to start off by looking at our Luma waveform here. Now I've turned off colorize, so it's just all Luma. And then you can increase the brightness just to make it a bit more clearer as well, which is quite helpful. So now we can see shadows and highlights are. So in order to adjust these, I'll just go over to the primaries color wheels. Now where it's all sitting right now is pretty good. And the reason that is because the transform tool within DaVinci Resolve is great at automatically getting your exposure pretty bang on. Now, if you're exposing S-Log3 or S-Log2, you probably have to expose over, or any type of S-Log really. And so in that case, all you have to do is just bring your offset down a bit just to make it a bit more. Looking at that, that's all looking pretty good. My blacks are pretty much near black, so I might just move that down a little bit, because the idea is we want the shadows to be pretty much touching black. And then the highlights we want to be pretty much touching white, or maybe just a little bit below, depending on the type of footage that you're shooting. So, because in my frame currently, there's no pure white. So we want it to be a little bit below pure white. We don't want it to be completely white. So up here at the top, that's pure white. And then down here at the bottom, that's pure black. So we can see we've got quite a good range, and it's a good amount of contrast and dynamic range. And then from here, a great little thing that I learned recently to really make your footage look more cinematic and pop quite a lot more is to move over to the curves. And then under the custom curves, all we have to do is add 2 points to start off with. So this end is your highlights, this end is your shadows. And we're just going to create a bit of a basic S curve. So we'll push the highlights up a bit, and you can see in the scopes, the highlights are being lifted a little. So about there looks good. And this is kind of where you can eyeball it a bit and just get a bit of a sense of what you think looks good. And then the shadows, just going to bring them down a little, just to sort of increase that level of contrast in our overall image. And you can see that's before and that's after. And again, it just makes those blacks look more black and sort of less washed out. And it makes our highlights kind of pop more. And the last thing I'll do with the curves is I'll just bring up the blacks at the bottom a little bit. And again, you can see in the image and in the waveform, my blacks are being lifted quite a lot. So they're starting to look washed out again. So let's lift it up a little bit, and then we'll create another node and bring that down just a little bit below, or even just a bit level with. And again, this is just a way of smoothing out your curves, which gives it a more sort of filmic feel. We'll do the same thing at the top. So we'll just bring our whites down a little bit and then smooth it out, smooth that curve out so it's nice and smooth. And then again, we've got before and an after. And you can see again, highlights are really popping and shadows are really standing out in the way we want them to. So moving on to the color balance. So this is really important, a really important step, but I think a lot of people seem to miss. It's really easy to color balance your images. Now, the most basic way to do it that I know of is to look over here, your RGB waveform. And kind of the idea is currently you can see how RGB, the red, green, and blue channels in the image are split apart, and some are higher than others. The idea is we want them to be all at the same level, because that means we'll have a correctly white balanced image. Now, in order to do that, I'll just go over to the primaries color wheels, and then we've got lift, gamma, and gain, which is essentially the same as shadows, midtones, and highlights. Now, I usually start with the highlights or the gain, so I'll keep an eye on the waveform over here, just so I can see what's happening. And I'll just gently nudge this and start to rotate it around. And you can see all the channels in the highlights are starting to shift and move. And all you have to do is just try and get them to all roughly align. And once they're all aligned, they should look white. Now you can see all my highlights look pretty aligned now. They're all looking pretty much the same. And you can see in our overall image, especially against the wall here, the color has actually shifted. So if I just turn that off with Command D, you can see the before and after. In the before, there's a bit of a red tint or a red hue, almost magenta-y. But when I've applied this color correction, the wall looks a lot more neutral. It doesn't have that red glow. You probably wouldn't have even noticed that red glow until you'd made that correction. And now that you've made the correction, you can see a huge difference. So now, once we've done that, we'll move on to the shadows. So we'll grab the lift and just start to move it around a bit until we can see, particularly in that bottom right corner where the blacks are in the image, they've all aligned so they're roughly white. And just get it close enough. Like, you can spend ages trying to get it perfectly white. But the thing is, if you move one, then all the others, so the midtones and the highlights, will shift. So you can see here the highlights have shifted. So now I'll go back to the gain wheel and just nudge that again. So it's looking pretty good to me. Black's looking pretty good. So now if we go on and off, you can see again, there's quite a large difference in color. But the idea is you just want it to look neutral. And here again, you can even see in the midtones, there's a bit of a split. So we can go to the midtones or the gamma color wheel and just gently give them a bit of a nudge until, particularly at the center of the image, which is where I'm going to be having people look ideally at the monitor, they all align. Nudge those gain controls a bit and then the lift. That's looking quite neutral. And again, you can see our color correction has taken out that red hue. So now the idea of getting a neutral white balance is so that you can apply colors creatively using LUTs or any type of offset to make your image more unique. So that's where I move over to this final node, the creative node. And for me, I tend to use my own custom LUT, which you can buy in the description. But all I do is just get my LUT, drag it over the creative tab, and you can see it's applied quite a lot of blue to the image. So you can see in the highlights here, there's a lot of blue. Even in the midtones and in the shadows, there's quite a lot of blue. And to me, that's a bit too much. So I just want to turn it down a bit So if we go to the key tab just here on this node, then go to key output, we can turn down the intensity of the LUT. So I'll just go to gain and then just drag it back a bit. So it's completely off, and then we'll just turn it up until it looks about where we want it to. And I think I'm kind of liking it about there. And then that's the before and after. Now, the last thing that I often will do in an image like this is you can see these reds are really quite intense. The red legs on my table are pretty intense. So I'll just add another node after the balance node. So go Option S, and that will create another node in between. And here, I'll just go back to the curves and then go over to the hue versus saturation tab. And all you have to do is use the qualifier tool, which is available here. So qualifier, and I'll just select a bit of the range on the leg, and you can see it's selected that red area. And then I can just turn down the saturation intensity of those legs. It's looking a lot better to me. And then even this Nerf gun is quite intense. So you can see that's here. So I might bring that back, and that's looking a lot better. That's before and after. We've just taken the attention away from the areas of the image that we don't really want the viewer to be looking at, because we want them to be focusing at the Mac. So that is that whole image done. And if we select them all, that's before any of the color correction, and then this is after the color correction. So it's quite a dramatic difference, and DaVinci Resolve is so powerful for all sorts of color correction like this. I hope that was helpful to you. And if you're a Final Cut user, feel free to check out this video where I talk about my color grading process in Final Cut Pro. Other than that, I hope you have an amazing day, and I'll see you very soon in the next video.